Hi, and welcome to the World Beyond Belief. This is a special edition because we have an incredibly special guest with us. We have Seven with us. Now, she hasn't had an interview with World Beyond Belief, and we've kind of gotten out of contact with her. But since we've been heavily involved with targeted individuals, and she is the first targeted individual that we interviewed, we wanted to get in touch with her and catch up on what's happening with her and what she's doing. If you know Seven and you've listened to her before, you know that she doesn't stand still. So between a year or so ago when we talked to her last and what she's doing now, I'm sure there's a whole lot of things that happened. I'm sure she's into a whole lot of stuff, and I'm anxious to catch up with her. So welcome to the World Beyond Belief, Seven.
How are you doing, Paul? Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure and honor to be able to share with you again. And Mindy, thank you for doing this interview. Much appreciated.
Well, we really appreciate it because why don't we start off by, there's some people that might not know you and not know your story, and it's such an intriguing story, and it says so much about you, how creative you are, and how you're able to fight your case through the UK court system, which isn't people friendly, and win. And then why don't you tell us a little about that, and then we'll pick up the time between that time and now, what's going on with you. So a little bit of history, and then bring us up to date.
Okay. Greetings, everybody. My name is Seven.
Oh, sorry.
So that people who don't know me, I am what's classified as a targeted individual, and I have been for the last 14 years. I'm actually now a survivor, although I'm still targeted. I won the largest case on public record for targeting, and I fought my case through the UK courts. And it is a case of extreme magnitude, so much so that people probably don't realize that in one way or another, there's many people who are researching things like Pizzagate, Pedogate, or, false flag operations. Many of the other things that we are witnessing unfold before our eyes. I should say crimes we are seeing unfold before our eyes. And in one way or another, it's connected to my case because of the crime ring involved, which is now known as Sevengate. Let me just give you a little bit of a background. My name is Seven, first of all, because I am the seventh child in my family. The interesting thing about that is that my other siblings, so effectively there was only I was the last seventh child, and all throughout my childhood, I had a very incredibly special brother who used to talk to me about being the seventh child and, the significance of it. And he told me many, many stories about different traditions and, how can I say, for instance, in the Native American prophecies they have about the seventh generation, and usually it's tied in to scripture and prophecy, and usually seventh generation comes along, it usually signals in humanity. My childhood growing up, I was aware of the child. It was called me John, and I was called Charles. become is actually, the name is actually John-Charles, but I was called Charles or Charlie 7. Years
7, we're having
because of,
trouble.
happened
Hold
to
one
live
second
now
here.
7.
You're breaking up so badly, we're missing most of your story. I'm wondering if we should
Right.
reconnect. And I should call back into that.
I don't know what because they're interfering with her audio.
I think they're messing with your audio.
That doesn't surprise me.
No. We had Millicent Black on once, and I wouldn't let her talk at all. They directly interfered with her.
You can't hear me at all?
We can hear you, but not enough to make out your story.
Okay. Should I try to talk again and see if it's any better, or do you want to scrap it and start again?
No, it seems to be better now, but you need to start off from how you got your name, and the stuff about your brother, I think, is incredibly significant. So if you can start, go back over that, let's try that.
So just to recap, because obviously the sound is poor, and obviously as a targeted individual, one of the things that will happen is that they will try to sabotage our communications, particularly with a case on the magnitude that I'm going to bring towards you today. So I just want to give people a little bit of a background of myself. I think it's important because it ties in to my name being used. 7. You'll notice that there's been a lot of the use of the 7/7 bombings. You know, the young man Jean Charles was shot 7 times. There's just been a lot of use of the name 7, which is very significant. So I want to just explain how I happen to be 7. And how I happen to become targeted. So far, can you hear me okay, Paul?
Very good. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I was just explaining that I am the 7th child in my family. And all my life, I was sort of made aware of prophecies and scriptures, 7th child. And in fact, if you go to Native American Indian, some of their prophecies, you'll about the 7th generation, and that we signal great change in the world. And so my family's name is John Charles, and I was Charles 7. And basically, as the years have gone on, I've actually got rid of the Charles, because although it's still my name on official documents, etc., I've just shortened my name to just being 7, because I do not resonate with the name Charles, where it comes from, how it happened to come into my family lineage. So I don't use that name Charles anymore, although officially, as you will see from lots of documents, let me show you something. For instance, you'll see my name here. Can you see that? Is it straight? Can you see that, Paul?
Yes, I can see that. It's very clear.
Okay. Well, this document here happens to be, I did a talk. I did a paper, in fact, with the International Council for Jurists and Lord Justices, etc., in 2014, and I was one of the key speakers, and I was asked to speak on 2 topics, which was intellectual property, and the other topic was on media ethics. And I did a paper and a talk, which you can see on my channel. It's actually, if you go into the 7 Gate playlist on this channel, you can actually have a look at that. But I just wanted to show you because it shows my name. So, you know, officially, I'm still kind of referred to officially when I do speaking engagements, etc. But I prefer to be just known as Seven, not Miss or Mrs. or whatever, just Seven. The reason why I don't use the word Miss or Ms. or whatever is because that Mr. or Mrs. identifies us as persons, basically subjects, in other words, slaves. I am a sovereign being, I'm a sacred being, I'm a divine feminine being, and I do not want to be identified as anybody's slave. So I don't use Miss or Ms. or whatever. It's just my name, Seven. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a background of how I became targeted. My brother died at the age of 30. Now, my background is I'm a concepts innovator and a musician, a producer, I'm a guitarist, guitar for many famous artists back in the day. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and just an ordinary person, really. And I come from a very, very extremely creative background. Musicians, and it's kind of split between really academic people, like my uncles are all professors, etc. Academia does run in my family, but personally I chose the creative path. That's what resonated with me, because as a child I was very psychic, I was very telepathic. I didn't understand what they were, I just had these abilities. So I leaned more towards using my creativity to, you know, to the ascension, etc. At the time, we didn't term it as ascension. I'm talking back in the 80s, 70s and 80s. So my brother was extremely, extremely amazing person. He was definitely what we now term as an ascended master, what we now term as a starseed or an indigo. He was probably a Blu-ray, which is now termed as a Blu-ray. And I'll sort of break down what these terms are for anybody who doesn't understand what they are, and because they are greatly significant, because a large part of the people who are being targeted actually can't fit into these categories. So when we say starseeds, indigos, Blu-rays, we're talking about people that are truth tellers, people that are, you know, righteous, people that are loving, people that can't live with hypocrisy, who refuse to be deceitful and be lied to, people who love their brothers and sisters from all nationalities, all faiths, all religions. Gifted in many areas, because in my analysis of the whole targeting gambit, I've identified various different groups of people who are being targeted, and many of the people who come under the classification of either being an indigo or a starseed have been targeted, although they might not term themselves as a starseed or an indigo. They might not know anything about that, but they do definitely come under that category. So we're talking scientists, we're talking some people that are called to be lawyers, some people that are called to be barristers, but honestly, be barristers, not go into the system and we are witnessing happen frequently within the courts. I'm talking about the innovators, the inventors, the people who are visionaries, that are very gifted in one way or another, are very excellent in their work. You know, I would say that Dr. Horton comes under the category of being a starseed, even though she probably thinks, what's that, you know, or maybe doesn't know about it. Great people on your panel, when I listen to them, I hear have attributes of being starseeds, you know. So anyway, so myself and my brother, we are definitely starseeds in that sense. And I would say to anybody to Google or research or just type it into YouTube, what is a starseed or what is a starseed indigo? There's different groups over the generations that have been around, but more famous ones are people like Gandhi, Malcolm X, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Mother Teresa, John Lennon. These are famous classical examples of what a starseed person is. Somebody that's into human rights, justice, peace, love, truth, all of those things. But each specific group have specific attributes. So my brother died at the age of 30, and he was light years amongst his peers. He was an extremely, extremely gifted beyond words, special person. He was so humble. He was so gentle. He was so kind. He was so learned. I could go to him and say, what does this word mean? And he will tell me the etymology of where the word originated from and the people that lived in the region of where the word came from and the religions that were practiced and etc., etc. I mean, he was a super brain. He was as humble as you could get, you know, and he, like me, he used his work in order to create change in the world, promote love and peace and justice and all those principles, you know. Anyway, he died at the age of 30. And at the time, I was a session musician. I was a musician, a writer, composer, and in the entertainment industry, in the music industry. And when my brother died, I decided it was such an impact on my life. And because he was such a giant, you know, he was such a special soul, I thought I would do something in his legacy, because he died of illness. He was very poorly all his life, and it ended up, you know, claiming his life at such a young age. So anyway, I'm going to try to speed forward because I want to get to the solutions and tell you a bit about my targeting, etc. But this is very significant. This is why I'm sharing it. My brother basically left me with so many gifts, so much wisdom, so much knowledge. There was no way I could just let his life not, you know, in some way translate to the world to do something to help other people who were sick. Now, as I told you, at the time I was a musician. I've always danced, you know, I'm a musician, so I thought I'd take my insight on and put things that will help people who are suffering illness and sort of, if you like, revolutionize how we deal with health and fitness within the entertainment industry. That would resonate with the mass consciousness of the people in a mainstream kind of setting. So basically, I created a multimedia platform. Took a long time to do. This was the early 90s. My brother died in 1992. At that time, I wasn't targeted, and he wasn't targeted. It was just, you know, he died, unfortunately. A whole journey for me. I basically, when about researching all kinds, all sorts of afflictions, everything you can think about, from stroke patients to cancer patients to all sorts of people, really, people that suffered from drug abuse. I felt like medium to be able to get how people could heal themselves in an inspirational way to the mass populace. Anyway, as I said, I researched. I went to hospitals. I looked after stroke patients. I was very fortunate because my brother was sick. I knew a lot of doctors, and so the doctors get to talk to patients, and I was able to compile a lot of research material in order to create this multimedia platform. So fast forward by 2000, early 2001, because as I said, that was it all began when my brother died in 1992. Now, by 95 was the birth of the internet. Bingo, you know, I had an epiphany and a light bulb moment. People do. And I thought, okay, this is the perfect medium in order to do what I wanted to do, to reach large demographics of people, you know, of all ages. I wanted to make my work and I'm going to show you, I wanted to make my work so that it would resonate with amounts of people and be entertaining and be exciting. Because as I told you, I grew up with dance, I grew up with music from all genres. Saw that we could use internet and TV to bring dance in a way to people, in a way that would help them to be fit and be healthy. I'm going to show you, there's a poster which I'll show you, because it has my shows on it. Some of them you might recognize. So these are probably about 1% of my shows. And it's a poster about my case, slavery still in the UK, targeted, gang stalked. Can you see that, Paul?
Yes, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay.
The most famous one that I remember is Dancing with the Stars. That's the one that I always.
Right. So, yeah, because that's in the US. In fact, it's a franchise which is all around the world. So I put together documents which basically resemble, you know, this is actually documents on my case. I put together a compiled documents that were bound like this, and they were kind of this sort of size. And I had 2 of them. They were like this. And after I compiled all the notes and everything, I put together this multimedia platform to revolutionize, as I said, how we deal with health in entertainment. It'd never been done. I did a lot of research into TV schedules, what had been created beforehand. Saw that it didn't exist. I was spawned on by my love for my brother, because he would have wanted me to do that. I know he loved people as well. We're very much people. We love people, you know. Love being able to give creatively, and so I knew he would have wanted me to do that. So anyway, I created the documents, and then I thought about getting a lawyer. But unfortunately for me, I had no idea that the lawyers that were recommended to me by the Law Society, a mafia cartel, when my nightmare began. I walked in with my documents, and I spoke to a young man called Christopher Gossage. Now, at the time, we're talking 2003, I was 38 at that time, and I looked very, very young. I looked probably about 18 because we have freak genes in my family. We all look freakishly young for our age. But, you know, I know I look a lot younger. And I think that's part of the targeting of me as well, because when you look young, people estimate you, you know. So I walked into this lawyer's office, and basically when I showed him my documents, he was salivating. He was literally excited, like, oh my God, did you do this? Oh my God. He was like, we could sell it to Endemol, we could sell it to Channel 4, we could sell it to, you know, he was like pacing the room, you know, really excited. Oh my God, oh my God. So because of his response, I mean, I knew what I had done was going to resonate with people because it was done with love. And if you do something with love, people will feel it. You know, I worked day and night without sleep, you know, and I knew it would touch people because it was fresh, it was exciting, and I touched the nerve, an area which hadn't been looked into, you know, how dance could be so significant to healing. And so when I realized that he was literally jumping around, he was younger than me. He was 26, I believe, at the time, around that age. Looked older than me, and he was a clerk at the time at the law firm called Russell's, which is in London. I realized, okay, this guy's tripping here. I'm going to have to protect myself. What I decided to do was to start communicating. After the initial meeting, I decided to start communicating with him in regards to the negotiations via email, so that it would be a paper trail. Because I had a lot of research notes, because obviously it started in, so for all the years that I was compiling research into everything from networks to, you know, who had done what, all these illnesses, how we could translate it into TV shows and, you know, use the internet. So it had been years of paper trail of evidence to you know, to show that I was the creator of this thing. And so when I decided to start emailing, obviously he wasn't aware. So I started every communication, and he was mentioning who we were going to and license the work to, etc. I had email records because I just didn't phone him anymore. It didn't take long before I started to see my work emerge on the screen. I'm going to show you bigger pictures. Yeah, I started to see my work emerge. Like, he didn't actually have the documents, but he signed. Before I spoke to him, I made him sign confidentiality. And before I would talk, he said to me, oh, I'm a lawyer. I said, well, it doesn't matter. You know, this is my work. I'm going to show you so you can see bigger. Can you see some of that, Paul?
Yes, I can see
Paul?
it. Yes, I can see
Okay.
it. Also,
All
I
right,
think
so
that I should mention that if you want to learn about this and go in detail, on our channel, Pinecone Utopia, we have 2 very complete interviews with 7. And if you want all of the documented evidence splayed out, she did a series of interviews with Alfred Lambermont Weber, which are, well, they made them so that they could be documented evidence. So you can get really into the weeds and into the details with that. This is what's
Right.
giving you now. It's just an overview.
Yes. I always like to bring in my evidence because there's so much of it. And what I'm about to bring to the public, for those people who are not aware of my case, is so massive, monstrous, evil, that you, in order to show and prove, put it that way, of who I am and what is happening, I refer to evidence. And as Paul has said, you can go on to Alfred's channel or Alfred Weber, WEBR, on YouTube. Part is re-show from very beginning to pretty much current day. But I think the last interviews were in 2015, so 2017 now. So go with the Pharaoh who want to read in a comprehensive on what this is, which I'm going to show you extracts from the report. This came out in 2013. And yeah, so let me fast forward because I don't know how much time we've got, and I want to give you enough background so that you can connect the dots to what you're witnessing happening worldwide. So
I think that your case is so amazing that people really should get into it. But you're right. We really need to go from 2014 or 2015, the last time, to now, because you're doing so much important work right now.
Right, yeah. So I want to bring particularly the emergency call to action to shut down the crime ring involved. Okay, so basically what happened was lawyer, then I start getting headhunted by a man called Richard Hanna. I will show you some of the images because it's important that people know who these people are. Yeah, can you see him? Paul?
Yes? Yes, I can see it. Derek Rosenblatt, Lord Justice, Eustace something. I can't see that.
Richard Hanna here, which is this man here. Can you see this?
Yes, Richard Hanahan.
Yeah, Richard Hanna. Okay, so headhunted me to attend a meeting about my new multimedia platform. And he was obsessive. He was literally ringing me God knows how many times day and night to attend this meeting. And he wanted me to meet a woman named Helen Alexander. It's important that you know who these people are.
Especially
they
Helen
are the
Alexander. Your
all of
periodical
them,
down
they
with
all
Trump.
play a very key role. Did you see that?
I can't. You need to drop it down a little bit for Helen Alexander.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Also, I would suggest anybody watching this, go to the internet and Google Helen Alexander, because she's a key player in this thing, and she's a key player in everything to follow.
Yes, yes, she's a false flags. Pizzagate, pedogate. This is why the crime ring are now referred to as 7-gate. Okay. I'm just searching quickly for a picture. I have a bigger picture of her so that you can see who we're talking about. Paul.
Yeah. Yes, there you go. We can see her a little bit. It's not the clearest picture of all, so I would suggest go and Google her name, because she is at the bottom of a lot of this stuff.
She is the people that I'm bringing to you today are the ringleaders. They are the ringleaders, and I'm going to talk to you how it works. The pyramid of evil works. We're talking about the very peak of the pyramid, the very top of the pyramid. This is the people that I'm bringing to you, the ringleaders. They are Bilderbergs. They are the invisible people that you don't know. You might focus on people like Rockefeller and all the other alphabet soup people that are out there. Out there are the ones that are on a slightly lower level. The ones that you know, whose name goes out there. The people that are invisible are the ones that are on the top of the satanic pyramid. This is who I'm talking about. So let me just go back and explain what happened to me, how I happened to become caught up in this web of cesspit of evil. So I get invited, headhunted, literally hounded to attend a meeting with this woman, Helen Alexander. Now, she works with another man called Jim Manson, like Charles Manson, literally. These people are serial killers, okay? And I'm not saying anything that I say and substantiate, and I have substantiated it over and over again. There's so much evidence on these people. This is why they've tried to kill me numerous times. There are videos on my channel you can have a look at. The recent attempt to kill me on the 28th of March of this year. Just for rewind slightly. So I get invited to attend this meeting to meet the head of factual broadcasting. And that's very important to know, because this woman has changed her identity. She previously worked for BBC. Now, anybody who has been following Pizzagate and Pedogate and connecting the dots with Jimmy Savile and all these types of characters will know that BBC actually had a satanic crime ring running there for many, many, many years. It's only all coming out now because of Jimmy Savile. And I'll show you some evidence of that. Just give me 2 seconds. I want to show you.
David Icke has been saying this for years, and he used to work at BBC.
Right. Well, I had no idea. Let me just explain. Let me just show you. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right. So Jimmy Savile. These are newspapers. Everything I'm going to show you is stuff that they've publicized. Right. So this is already in the public domain. Now, if we look at this one, you'll see it says, I don't know if it's back to front. Can you see it the right way round?
Yes. It's perfect.
Okay, so it says, it says G of a satanic ring. Okay. Now, why is this important to know and to connect the dots between this woman? This woman was working for BBC, was obviously part of this satanic ring, which I was being invited to attend a meeting with. Now, interestingly enough, she has a whole new biog. She says she began her career publishing at Faber and Faber before moving to the Economist Group in, wait a minute, let me get my glasses. Just give me 2 seconds, I put my glasses. All right, so she says, I'm just reading from here, which it basically gives you her new biog. Because after my case, she was found guilty and she was supposed to be in prison with her crime ring. But in order to escape prison, she's invented a whole new biog. And this is evidence on this psychopath. She's a psychopath. Okay, Helen Alexander began her career publishing at Faber and Faber before moving to the Economist Group in 1985. She was managing director of Economist Intelligence Unit. Pay attention to that, intelligence unit. She is head of intelligence globally. And I'm going to bring it to you. She was chief executive of the organization until 2008, when she stepped down to become the first president of CBI, Britain's leading trade body. She is the president of Britain's leading trade body. Now let's talk about what is she trading.
Okay.
People. She's trading people. She is running via the intelligence units mass targeting operations on an industrial scale, not just in the UK, but globally. So if you link the fact that she's running intelligence units with the fact that she's the head of trade, and you start putting the two things together, this is what I'm here to do today, to help you connect the dots of the monster that I'm bringing before you. The magnitude of what I'm going to share with you today affects every single person who is alive today. Your religion is, doesn't matter if you like music, entertainment, doesn't matter if you're black, it doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're a starseed, doesn't matter if you don't care about conspiracies, doesn't matter about any of it. Because this woman is on a mission to murder as many people as possible. She's absolutely insane. Know she's going to be caught. So when they know that they're going to be caught, they do more and more evil. If there's a video that is very important for you to watch, and I'm going to tell you exactly where to go. You should watch the whole video if you can, but I do an investigation. If you go into urgent breaking news, satanic crime ring staging false flags globally. So, urgent breaking news, busted, satanic crime ring staging false flags globally. Watch that video. For people that don't want to watch the video, you can fast forward on the clock for a breakdown of who this woman is and what she currently is doing and the scale that she's doing it. She has taken over the entire mainstream media, the entire entertainment industry, the entire Hollywood. She has taken over trade, as I've explained to you, and it says it clearly. When you watch this video, you'll see she is taken over BT, NHS, universities all over the world. She has taken over all publishing houses. So all the kind of syndicated news Associated Press, syndicated news. This woman is behind it. She runs it with Rupert Murdoch, a name that you most probably do know.
Sure. Did you?
Now, in the course of all,
is this your video?
Sorry.
Did you make this video, or is this?
Yes,
video
this is one
urgent?
of my own videos.
Okay,
it's
and it's
2
called
hours
urgent.
plus minutes. But in that video, I have broken down exactly who is behind the crimes against humanity so that you can see the evidence yourself. It has inserts of other videos of other, particularly a brilliant professor named Professor Lees. Now, Professor Lees actually has a dossier on this crime ring. And he has, I mean, he wasn't aware of my case. Been tracking this woman for a long time. And in that video, you'll see how much this woman has racketeered. And you'll see that she's taken over NHS, she's taken over, I think, is it Lockheed Martin? She's part head of ministry. I mean, we're talking a scale that you just cannot fathom. So let me just explain to you, because I'm going to tell my story as I show you bits of evidence so that you can put the dots together for yourself to understand that we have to home in who are the that are orchestrating from the top of the pyramid. Remember, the pyramid structure, the very top has a very small peak. The bottom, as you go down, has the minions, the foot soldiers. Half the time, these people are not aware of who's at the top, who's paying. Masters. These are the pay masters. This is what I'm bringing to you, the actual pay masters. And people who are investigating Pizzagate, they need to turn their attention to the paymasters, the people who are ordering. Because you see how it works is that people who want to get into the million, billion, trillion, gazillion dollar club, in order to get in there, and there's a very brilliant interview by a banker. His name is Roland Maynard, something like that. The video is called Psychopaths of the New World Order, and it's part 4. I believe it's channel or something. Forgive me. We'll try and put the video in the description afterwards so that you can get to it. The video is very key to understand what is happening and how it works. This man explained exactly how the system works. He was a banker, and they approached him because he was making a lot of money already. They approached him and they said to him, did you see that video, Paul? By the way?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
They approached him and they said, do you want to make a lot of money? He said, sure. You know, he was young, ambitious, and hardworking. If you want to make a serious amount of money, you have to switch off your conscience and put it in the freezer. And basically, they said not 80%, but 100%. You have to switch off your conscience and go completely numb in order to do what it requires to become part of the million, trillion, gazillion dollar club. Now, explained in his own personal testimony, and the man who actually is doing an analysis on this video, he is absolutely brilliant the way he's broken it down so that everybody can understand. It made my job so much easier. I'm just an ordinary person who's found myself in this cesspit And I want out. I don't want anything to do with this. I want to shut this crime ring down and get on with my life. Yeah? And stop them hurting other people. I'm going to make sure they never get away with what they've done. Never. That is my mission and purpose in this life. And trust me, it will be fulfilled. Oh, this man, is it Roland Maynard or something like that? I can't remember. Forgive me, I can't remember his name. He explained the process of climbing up the ladder. What he would be asked to do was to launder the money. So what they do is they go after people like me, Innovator. They got me to attend a meeting in the NTL facilities. Now, at the time, these facilities were, it was the biggest broadcasting facilities ever seen. I don't know if it was in the world or in the UK, but this place was massive. They headhunted me to attend this meeting with this woman. Okay? You can look at her face and see she's absolutely sick. At the time, I'm just a creative person. I went to the meeting not knowing anything. I wasn't conspiratorial. I was only interested in doing my skills, raising my children, you know, being with my family, my friends. Oh, I have no time for this crap. So I go to this meeting because they're headhunting me about these documents, this multimedia platform that I had built for my brother. So I go to the meeting and I didn't see that there was original until after the meeting, which said, command, unleash sales. God, if you go into the Farrell report, www.the-Farrell, FARRELREPORT, thefarrellreport.net. While you're watching it, you can go through on that and you'll see me. There should be my courtroom audios should be on there, but you'll see some of the documents that I'm talking about. I'm not going to pull them all out because this interview would just take forever. If you want to see these documents, you can go either on there or you can go onto Alfred Weber's channel, where I give the most detailed interview I've ever done. That's why there's so many parts. But for serious investigators into Pedogate, Pizzagate, you need to know this case inside out, because shut them down overnight. Once you understand who is behind the filth you're seeing, it will shut them down overnight. And that's the objective. 7-Gate. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking. Pedogate talks about the crimes. I'm talking about the crime ring, which are referred to as 7-Gate. And I'll explain the reason for that name in a minute. So I go to this meeting after being headhunted. I didn't actually want to go, but I go and I attend with a friend of mine who is a law graduate, witness to the signatures that were signed, because I never speak to anybody about my work unless people sign contracts. If you don't sign a contract, I won't talk to you. So contracts were signed, and this woman steals my documents. Now, there was an email, as I've just referred to, which was titled, "On My Command, Unleash Sales Hell." And it was talking about murder. You need to see this email. It was written by the man that I showed you who headhunted me, Richard Hanna. Where's he gone? 2 seconds. You need to see people's faces.
Is this on your site? Did
Yes,
you post this
I
on
flag
your
these
site?
up all the time, but I'm just going to flag it up again because I never,
Okay.
ever want anyone to be confused about who I'm talking about. This psycho here. All right. He writes an email talking about having his vengeance, murder. I'm like, what is this about? You need to see that email. This was 2003. He writes an email inviting me to meet this woman, Helen Alexander. She attends the meeting with Jim Manson. Let me show you who Jim Manson is. You need to know who these people are. Here. I don't know if he's related to Charles Manson, but he makes Charles Manson look like a pussycat. All right. This here. Right. So, are you hearing me? Okay. So anyway, I get to this meeting, but I don't discover all of this filth until after the meeting, this email, because my computer was down. The email, which has all this stuff about murder on he's going to take vengeance on the public. This man, this psycho is talking about vengeance on the public. Sales hell. I had no idea what they intended to do was take the 2 documents that were this size up into hundreds of shows, merchandising and product over 126 countries. Now, the reason I asked you to go and watch the video called Busted, that money sparked off the biggest ever racketeering operation ever to be seen historically in the world. Okay? They had not seen that kind of money in the UK in the period of time in 100 years since the Industrial Revolution. That's how much money was involved in this initial operation. And there's little me in the center of this. I couldn't believe it. So let me tell you what happened. This woman steals my documents. I leave the meeting. I contact my lawyers. I had no idea they were involved. All colluded. It was all planned and plotted, okay? And there was little me, shocked, just an ordinary creative person, a mother, just doing my own thing, living my life, trying to be a good person, children to be good people, trying to raise my family in a decent, God-loving way, to find myself in this insane situation. So,
But
what
you know
happened?
what it sounds like, Charlie, or Seven? It sounds like it's like throwing chum in the water when you're trying to get sharks. You know, chum, the bait
Yes.
that they have to get sharks. Throwing that kind of money out
Yeah.
is going to attract everybody from this cult that's around. It's incredible.
So basically, as I told you, I had no idea that there was a cult in the BBC. Like everybody else, I just thought it was a news network. I'd been on top of the pops. I was a musician. You know, I've been on top of the pops. There's loads of videos when I was young, me top of the pops, you know, playing guitar for different artists. Okay? I would go in there, do my session and go home. They pay me. I didn't know there was this whole world going on. So basically what happens then, I start to see, the first thing I start to see is a van with Carlton television circulating my house. On the street. or I should say my flat is on the street. I haven't been able to stay there because of safety, because they've been trying to kill me. I live on the street which has 14 houses on either side. No, sorry, my side. It's on court. So one day, a van, Carlton Television. I'm thinking, what's that doing around here? This is weird. I'm thinking, do that mean, very, very quickly? So anyway, few days later, the next thing I know, I'm seeing my work on billboards.
It's horrible.
Billboards. Work for my brother is on every single channel all over the world. And not only that, let me show you. Work is being advertised. So all these shows suddenly emerge. You'll see 10 years younger. That's a reference to me, younger than my age. Watch that show. It says, how old do you think she is? Because that's what people always do. When they see me, they're like, guess how old she is? Because it's like, I'm like a freak. I'm like a really... There you have it. Anyway, what you eat, 10 years younger, Fit Farm, Diet Doctors, stars, Dancing on Ice. It literally, they chop them up and they turn them into different shows and they sold them like wildfire. Like he said, and unleash sales hell. And then came the next part, murder upon the public. Take his murder and vengeance out on the mass populace. I kid you not. Okay. How this all started unfolding before my eyes. On the street, I start being followed by white vans with men in helicopters making slit your throat signs at me like this. My mother, who sings in the choir, who hasn't got a clue, just like I never had a clue that this world even existed. They're tailing us. Literally everywhere I go, there's a van outside waiting for me. I go to the police and I tell them that my documents were stolen. I go to the police and I tell them that my documents were stolen. Alexander and Jim Manson, I explained the whole thing that had happened to me, that my lawyers were involved, etc., etc., etc. All right. So, and let me show you. These are all the companies involved. Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Paul?
Yes.
Paul,
we
can you see?
Yes. BBC,
Okay.
ITV, NTL, Virgin Media.
Yeah. You'll see that if you go onto this report for yourself, you see all of this, but I'm just... so that you can see. So let me show you. I don't know how much time we got, but I want to try to cut to the chase. It's 14 years that I'm describing. And this part of it is so important for people to understand in order to be able to connect the dots of insanity and the psychopathic madness that is happening. So I go to the police and they tell me that they're going to send the CID, Criminal Investigations Detective or Crime Investigation. I don't know what they call themselves. I've got it all documented. So there's two aspects to the case. There's the criminal side and there's the civil side. Because obviously all my work was copyright protected and, you know, the documents were stolen. So under the Thefts Act, it's a crime. Under the copyright law, it's not just infringement of copyright. So I went to the police and nobody turned up. There were so many witnesses because what I'd done is I'd put my own production company together, made out of lawyers, accountants, just my friends. People who were my network of, you know, launching this whole thing. So prior to going to that meeting, own operation, that's why in the first place. That it would protections to begin with. Paul, whether or not you can hear me clearly.
I can hear
Clearly?
you. It's not clear. What? I can hear you. It's not clear. What? Wow.
You can't hear me clearly.
No, you need to start back with your.
Paul.
We have quite a delay here. Also, the delay between my talking and your hearing it. We need to
Say that
back.
again, please, Paul.
Okay, we need to go back to about where you were talking about your friend. You talked about the two different sides of the court case, the tort case and then the criminal case. And then you started talking about your friends, getting your friends together, I assume, to go into court with you. You were unable to get a lawyer to defend you. Is that correct?
Right. No. Before going to the meeting with any of these people, I had formed my own production company made up of my friends. Do you understand that? Can you hear that okay?
Gotcha.
Paul?
I'm here. You
Say
formed
that
your own
again.
production company with your friends.
Paul, I'm not sure what you can hear, so I'm trying to...
I think I can hear everything. Just go ahead, continue.
Before going to the meeting. That's why I went to the law firm.
Keep going. We're good. I can hear you.
Say it again.
I can hear you. It's pretty clear now.
Yeah, it's going a little bit Dalek-y. You sound a little bit... But you can hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. All right. So just to recap, I was telling you that prior to going to the lawyers and being railroaded to attend a meeting, which it's effectively turned out to be a setup to steal my documents so that they could racketeer with my work. all over the world. I already had my own my own operation, like as production team, which was lawyers, etc. And one of them attended the meeting with Helen Alexander and Richard Hanna, signed the contracts. So, as I said, within no time, I go to the police and I start receiving death threats. There are now men outside my house, sitting outside my house all day long. Every time I looked from the curtain, I could see the van outside. It's still going on now. 14 years later, it's still going on. Even though I've won the largest case of its kind, it's still going on because the whole thing's been covered up to protect the identity of this crime ring. Because they are behind Pizzagate, they are behind the filth that you're seeing, all the false flags. Okay? So, let me rewind now. So, I'm being followed everywhere. I go to the police send me a letter that basically is, you're a victim of crime, blah, blah, blah. We'll be looking into it. By that time, there's so much money involved. Everybody's been paid off. And so they start to boast about having fixers everywhere. So the first thing that I start to see was, can you see that?
Yes. It's not totally clear. Something like hustle.
Yes. The people in that particular show on BBC, on all the people that were part of this operation. So Richard Hanna is being played by the black guy. The female that you're seeing is playing Helen Alexander. The young guy on the other side is playing Christopher Gossage, who was the lawyer I went to, and is playing, his name is James Manson, and the other guy is playing Tony English, who is also from Russell's. So they've turned what was being done to me into a TV show. I could not believe it. Everything on there is what had been done to me. It says on the website, if you go on, when we went onto the website, because there was an advert running, it said the con is on. You get nothing for something. Ha, 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 ha. When I heard this advert going, while I was fighting these people and basically going to the police because I was seeing my work all over the place on a scale that you just cannot fathom, show or two movies, it's like hundreds of shows back to back all over the place. And basically adverts running, ha ha ha, you get nothing for something. The hell is going on? So I go to the police. They don't show up because they've been paid off. Keep your mouth shut. So I know there's somebody who now has my name. Let me see if you can see it. Can you see it at the top? Charlie 7.
Yes, now I can see it.
You can see that?
Yeah.
There,
It's
written
blurry.
there.
It's blurry, but I can see it.
It's blurry. If I bring it in, can you see it better?
Little more and more. Bring it in more.
Can you see it better?
Well, I can see. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There you go.
Can you see that?
That's good.
Right.
Good.
This blonde girl here is given my name. Like, what the hell? And turned into a pop band. And the album was called Chasing Victory, a Not So Tragic Cover-Up. That's what they called the album. So basically, everything that was happening, being done to me, was being turned into TV shows. I was like, nightmare, beyond nightmare. So people went to the concert and they thought it was me because I have a very distinctive name. When they saw somebody sporting my name, everybody knew automatically. They've stolen your work and they've stolen your name and your identity now.
Right.
So that's when the use of the net 7 starts to become more and more used. And it's in a game, a twisted game has been going on with these people sitting in their offices, paying their minions to go around faking and staging false flag operations and calling it 7/7. 7 explosions all around London. And then basically, as you read the report, can you hear me still clearly?
Very clearly.
Great, because I need you to get this. It's so important because what we need to do for people here, Paul, because I know you know, but what we need to do is connect the dots so that people can put their focus on this den of devils, devil people. Okay? It can be done quickly. The same way you've put out all that stuff about Pizzagate, you need to turn your attention to 7-Gate in order to bring the crime ring down. Excuse me, I have to have some water. My mouth is dry. Okay. Ah, Lord of mercy.
Well, if we're going to have time to do
I'm
the
just
solutionaries, because we started at about 20 after 11.
say that again.
We're into about an hour and 15 minutes of the podcast. If you want to do something
Okay,
about,
so I'm going to try to speed through so that I can. I want
because your
to
new
speed
stuff, I
through.
want everybody to know your new stuff.
Yes. Yeah, because I want to get this because I want people to turn their attention. 7-Gate in relation to Pizzagate. Because once you do that, they can't say it's fake news. Okay, you'll see on there. Can you see 7 explosions across London?
Yes.
All right. Now, as I said, you can go to the report. Then this guy, Brazilian, was shot 7 times in the head, and his name is Jean-Charles Menendez. He was an innocent Brazilian. That is because my family is Jean-Charles. What happened was, it began with them making shows about what was taking place in real life. So then I started to put together legal proceedings with all the evidence against them. So there was a witch hunt to try to kill me, to stop me. I then became aware that they were going to blow up the trains because they made a movie called V for Vendetta. But before the movie was made, they had adverts everywhere about blowing up the trains. Because I realized this crime ring used the media to show their crimes in advance, sometimes afterwards as well, but they show their crimes in advance. It's part of a satanic ritual. If you listen to the interview with the banker, he explains the higher you go up in the echelon, higher you go up the pecking order, ranking order, the more evil, sadistic things that you have to do, and that it's deeply satanic. That's when you start getting into the realm of killing babies, sacrificing children, and what have you. It's all part of what this cult do. And that man explains it very good. If you watch the video, it's called Psychopathic New World Order. And it's an analysis into the interview of the banker called Ronald Maynard or something like that. I'll put the link below. Or you can watch it on my channel. I have it on my channel. If you go into the 7 Gate playlist, it's in there. You can see it in there. Okay, so basically I was aware that they were using the media to show what they're going to do, what crimes they're committing in real life. I could not believe it. So I was going to the police literally daily, ringing everyone, going everywhere to try and get help. The police were doing nothing. So then I saw this V for Vendetta movie, which was about to happen. And if you go into the Farrell report, I'll show you, we've put in the original articles and adverts about that movie before the movie was made, that I knew exactly that it was them and they were planning to blow up the trains. So I went into hiding. I had to go into hiding because they were going to kill me. So I basically went into hiding, stayed there for about 3 months before I was smuggled to Notting Hill Gate police station. And then when I got out of hiding, now I had initiated the proceedings prior to seeing all this stuff for V for Vendetta.
You're gonna need to fill in.
When I put the case into the court, and I can show you, when I issued proceedings against them, I gathered the evidence, and I got 14 witnesses' statements and evidence, and I'm going to show you. This is the actual document. Yeah, so basically, I issued the proceedings. Automatically, they didn't produce any evidence. They were terrified because they knew that they'd signed contracts. They knew that I had a lot of evidence. I'd gone to lots and lots and lots of lawyers to take on the case, but the whole legal world had closed ranks against me. Everybody knew what was going on. The whole of the media knew what was going on. Law firms knew what was going on. It was big talk because the money was so massive. So as soon as I'd walk into somebody's offices, they already, my name was already flagged up, get her evidence and, don't take on her case, basically. So they lost automatically. But no, they had no defense, no acknowledgement. And so automatically they owed me damages for the civil side of it. Obviously, I was pursuing both the criminal side and the civil side of the case. So the case was due to be heard in July of 2005. And that's when, leading up to this hearing, which was to disclose how much money they had made out of my stolen documents, running up to this, the death threats got worse and worse. The stalking became worse and worse. I was being followed literally everywhere, getting death threats daily. And then when I saw this V for Vendetta adverts all over the place about blowing up the tubes, I knew that they were planning to do it. It was them and they were planning to do it. So I went to the police, to everybody that you could think of in law enforcement to help me to stop this crime ring. What happened was nobody would do anything. Magistrates court. I said, I've got a court case. It's scheduled to be heard in July of 2005. And what's going to happen is, unfortunately, I have this crime ring who are potentially going to blow up the trains. Now, when I showed him all the evidence, he knew I was telling the truth. He said, the only thing you can do is to take proceedings against the police and take the proceedings against people to make the police take action. There was no way that I could mount proceedings against the police when I had already had a case which was scheduled to be heard. I couldn't do the two things. So the only thing I could do was go into hiding, because there was a witch hunt, because they knew I knew, and they knew that I was trying to stop them. So what happened was, can you still hear me all right, Paul?
Yes, I can hear
Can
you
you still
fine.
hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. You're very clear and
Okay.
very good.
Okay, so the only thing that I could do was to go into the hiding, because I knew they would try to kill me. Obviously, they was not aware that I was going to go into hiding. So that foiled their plan, because the plan was to kill me, and actually, you know, nobody be none the wiser, because people were saying, where's all this money coming from? You know, the country was flooded with literally billions and billions upon billions of pounds from this massive racketeering operation. And people were asking in Financial Times and different magazines, I was watching the whole thing unfold, where is all this money coming from? On the other hand, they were making shows, and they had fixers, people who were in public office, government departments, various different offices within the police, within wherever they wanted. They could buy anybody to keep their mouth shut and play the game. So I went into hiding, and I stayed there for 3 months. I went back to court, and cut a very long story short of so much skullduggery. They tried everything to hide my case. They tried everything. They paid off court staff, members of court staff, to hide my court bundles, to hide the evidence. But anyway, I ended up winning a landmark case. There's my name at the top, you'll see. Sorry, you should see my hair. No, so my name is here. And all the parties are down here. Okay?
Okay.
And that was, so basically, let me just give you a quick recap on that, just that section, because it's very important, particularly for targeted individuals who are seeking to pursue the judicial system in order to end their targeting operations. What you have to understand is every single department has been co-opted, right? This is well-known fact. It was done there was a report called Operation Tiberius, and it showed that the whole of the British judicial system has been infiltrated by crime ring members. Most of them are Masons, if not all of them. The ones in my case are also Bilderbergs, because they use these things to shield themselves. It's a mass crime syndicate network, and they shield themselves behind these society clubs.
You're breaking up.
Once you
You're breaking up a
become
little bit.
Bilderberger, you'll have certain amount of protection afforded to you. Yes, you can do your evil with it.
Okay, you're breaking up a little
can you
bit,
hear me back?
The Bilderberg, the people hide behind these
Can you-
clubs because there's a certain amount of protection given to them, correct? Is that what you said?
Yes,
Perfect.
right. Okay, so they join these clubs that they give them maximum security and protection. We're rating on the level of the billion dollar club to the trillion and zillion dollar club. The most has the most influence. This has the most money, because what that kind of money into other forms of organized crime. So this is how they're able to expand their operations, and they have expanded in every way possible. This is an octopus, okay? And so then you start seeing the wave of targeting of people from all kinds of levels. We're talking, okay, you need to understand, they run GCHQ.
Okay, they run GCHQ and you started breaking up.
Slave, okay?
The sound's very
Okay.
bad. Seven.
Can you hear me?
They run
It would be.
GCHQ. Yeah, well, GCHQ,
It
of
would
course.
be. They would try to mess about with it.
Yeah,
Say that again.
and they run GCHQ, and I mentioned GCHQ has a tap into Google, which is what we're using right now. So if you could move along, you won
Okay,
your
now-
case. I don't want to minimize any part of this because it's all important, but we really want to get into solutionaries and where you are right
Yes.
now.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So can you hear me? Okay, because
Yes, you're
if
clear
I'm gonna
now.
speak, I don't want to speak if I'm not.
No, I don't blame you.
You can hear me now.
I can hear you now.
Say that again, Paul.
Yes, I can hear you now. You're
Paul?
good. Yes, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. but
Okay,
can you hear-
okay. Sorry.
Okay, no
I can
problem.
hear you okay. I apologize, everybody out there.
Me too. I apologize too.
Listening
because-
to this, but we do experience these things,
Right.
you know, but this is the nature. If we try to get this information out, this is what happens, you know.
Yeah, we're doing our
Anyway.
best.
Fast forward. Okay, so let me fast forward. So while I'm in hiding, they do the 7/7 bombings. Now you'll see there's lots of publications. What is all this repetition with the number 7? All these articles come out. Why is there constantly the use of the number 7? And I will show you, even outside of my home, they have vans with the number 7 featured, just to give you an indication and why it's called 7 gauge. And I want to tie it into how I contacted you recently and what has transpired. Give me 2 seconds. I'll just... Oh, my files. Sorry about this. Yeah, so they do the numbers. They do the bombings on the trains. And it's called 7-7, where 52 people died. Okay. And what else happened? Then the Brazilian man was shot 7 times in the head with my family's name. I was literally in my house, barricaded inside. They had helicopters flying around my house, and my street was on CNN News because they were obviously trying to set me up. They didn't know that I was going to go into hiding and barricade myself in. So what they did is that they brought a letter and they slipped it under my door and 7 on it to let me know that they had done the bombings. I was in pieces. I was literally lying on the floor for days in floods of tears, in traumatized for what was unfolding. I mean, this was horror of all horrors of all horrors of all horrors. I was watching the news. I'm seeing my street on the news. I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Anyway, eventually I get smuggled out of there to a police station called Nottingham Gate Police Station. And then I proceed with my court case and I show all the evidence to the judge. Before I get to the case, of course, they try to hide the files. They pay people to not put my files before the judge. I win a landmark case, okay? Now, there were different hearings, but if you go through the actual Farrell report, you'll see the skullduggery that went on. I'm not going to go deeply into it because of time today, but that just gives you an idea of the nightmare that I was put through. So I win the case, and I'm shocked that nobody in the media wants to cover it. But of course, they've completely taken over it. So nobody in the media wants to report that this woman has won this massive case, but because they've been reporting on themselves. So the journey continues to expose these criminals. And I have been a speaker at many events over the years. They've tried to kill me. I want to quickly show the people watching some of the things that have happened so that they can, because I know a lot of this is happening to other targeted people as well. So one of the things they do in my case, they will put scaffolding on my building. There's a man standing on the scaffolding on the 3rd floor. Can you still hear me, Paul? I'm not sure if you can hear me at all now. Paul, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. You can hear me?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Paul?
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't think you can hear me, can you?
No, I can. Yes, I can.
Yes,
I can hear you.
So this is just quick to show everyone. Okay, so this is my water being poisoned. This is them at my front door. I take a picture from the window above of two men pulling out the pipes in the front of my front door to poison my water. This is a reading. Somebody scanned my property for bugs, and these lights show you that the property had been bugged. This shows my locks on my front door broken into. I've had my flat broken into numerous times. Numerous times. Police never turn up. They don't investigate anything. Okay? And it's this witch. It's this witch. Because when we went to court, she was found guilty, which you will hear if you listen to the courtroom audios, which are also blocked it. So you can't listen to the courtroom audios via iPad or your iPhone. You have to listen via computer. But if you go onto my channel here, you can find, there's a 7-gate actual playlist, and you'll find my courtroom audios. You'll see, if you watch the show, which I did call Busted, Crime Ring, Satanic Crime Ring, doing false flags. If you watch that one, you'll actually see lots of evidence. Okay, so in the time that this has been going on, I've had people about key players, because what happened is, as the time went on, I went to see lawyers. They would join the crime ring, steal more of my property, intellectual property. More of my stuff would be sold all over the world. And basically what I realized was happening is a slave trade. And they actually boast about it. I want to show you some. Slavery becomes big business in Britain. Some of the targeted people, like myself, are being targeted as a resource for our intellectual property so that they can trade with it, racketeer with it all over the world. Because this is how they are able to masses of people. It's money. There's two aspects to this. Masses amount of money, dirty money, and Satanism. Those are the two key components that we are dealing with. In order to get massive amounts of money, you have to do evil things in order to get into that club. You cannot enter that rank. If you want to get into the big money, the billions and the trillions and the gazillions, you have to be able to kill, murder, rape, torture, traffic innocent people in order to get into that club. And so there are people, mentally warped people, who want entry into that club. These are the Alephantis and the Podestas. These are the lower level ones that you're seeing. These are people where the people who have got shops and they're in part of the $1 million club, they are on the lower level, carrying out the crimes for the paymasters that are key Satan kind of brides of Satan. They are at the top of the ranking. Helen Alexander, she has a ceremony which is on YouTube of her being inaugurated on the level of the Queen of England to be made a dame. Not become a dame in the UK on that level unless you are part of that trillion gazillion dollar club. Now, in order, as we've established, And as you will hear from the testimony of Ronald Maynard, or whatever his name is, in the video called Psychopathic New World Order, I think it's the Watchman channel, something like that on YouTube, but I'll put it's on my channel. If you look on my channel, you'll see it. Just go through the liked videos and go through the playlist of Seven Gate and you'll find it. You'll come across it. He explains when they wanted to become on the go higher and higher and higher up the ladder, he had to commit more crimes. It starts off with you have to steal people's businesses, shake down people, mafia style. You take over people's businesses and you destroy families. And after they do that, they laugh. When they see they've destroyed a family's business and they've taken it over for themselves, they laugh like it's a joke. Then from there to upgrade, do wicked crimes against children. And he said that's the part when he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. You could see him holding back the tears. But there are people, the people you're seeing could do it. Now, let me explain something. In the Hampstead case, there's an interview by somebody called Mel V. She pointed out that when she lived in Hampstead, all of the people that was in that area were all from the entertainment industry. That Hampstead area is a satanic haven. It's full of it. The UK is a satanic cesspit right now. The institution has been co-opted by them. They're lunatics. Lunatics, sick, psychopathic people. That's what we're dealing with. Okay? There's another component that people have to really understand. If we look at what happened to Hillary Clinton was funded by people in arms company for her presidential campaign. Who is running her arms company? Here she is. Ding, 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 ding. Here she is. Right? If you look at photos with David Brock on the staircase in the Pizzagate, if you've seen some of the evidence, there's a photograph with a man called David Brock, and he's standing on the staircase with a young woman who is from the Economist magazine. Who is the head of Economist? Ding, 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 ding. That nutter. Yeah?
That's great.
She becomes...
I think you made a really good case. You're making a very good case and pointing the finger at, I think, the people that need to have their finger pointed to. But we're down to about the last 15 minutes.
Okay. So
you're having a call to action.
Yes. So what I'm showing you is the Seven Gate crime ring. Okay. These people have already been taken to court and I won. They lost. She changed her identity. And a lot of these crimes are motivated to cover up initial crimes. But what happens? They just get bigger and 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 bigger until it just globe. If you look at who the shadow government that they had to purge during presidential, after the elections with Trump, it was a group called the Seventh Floor Group.
Yeah.
When I contacted you recently, because somebody sent me the video of Dr. Horton's investigations for Stop 007, that was on the 20th, 20th of May, 2017, somebody sent me. This is last week, right? This is how we got reacquainted, in touch with one another. A week later, what did they do? Not even a week. On the 23rd, Roger Moore, who played the original 007, is now found dead. That was the day after the false flag in Manchester, which again was them. Charlie Hebdo. What does Charlie Hebdo mean? It means Charlie 7. Charlie is Charlie, and Hebdo means weekly, 7 days, basically. So it stood for Charlie 7. Because basically they've had a secret war going on with me because I won the largest case of its kind, and I've been outing them for the last 14 years. But the public is not aware of any of this. There's people researching false flags and saying it's a hoax. It is a hoax. It's TV staged by these people. So let's go to the emergency call to action. I have set up the Solutionaries Media Network, TV. As I told you, my background is, I make shows. I'm a concepts innovator. And part of the cleanup operation to do it. Now, a solutionary, the term solutionary is a spiritual warrior. It's a divine download I had many years ago in the course of all this. If there are any information out there about the solutionaries, it's bogus because it comes from me. I realize they're putting it in Wikipedia. This is what they do. They steal everything that I'm doing to try to circumvent it. If it hasn't come from me, that's not what a solutionary is. A solutionary is a spiritual warrior. We're like revolutionaries, but our tools, truth. That's our number one sword, the sword of truth. When you speak the truth and you name it as it is, name them as they are. Stop using words like elite. They are not elite. They are scum. They are vampires. They are devils. You call them what they are. And fear no one. These people are wicked devils and they have to pay for every crime they've done against humanity. Okay? Right? So what is the solutionaries? Listen, we've come to take these people down. Right? Yes. My mother is dead. Right? My mother's body was stolen from a mortuary. All right? Everything that happened to my mother has got the hallmarks of them on it. No investigation. No police has talked to me. Terrorist attack on my building on the 28th of March to try to kill me and everybody in the building. They sent a young Caucasian guy in his early 20s pretending to be an electrician. You can watch it on YouTube because fortunately we streamed it live on Facebook. This man turned up pretending to be an electrician, changing the lights. But what he did was left a box with full of microwave materials in the entrance with a detonator. One of them was a detonator. It was live in there. We happened to film it live on Facebook. Had it not been for two friends of mine that showed up that same day, one of them I hadn't seen for a year, I would never have even known that this box was down there. That was a genuine terror attack on me. How many police have investigated anything? Nobody. Nobody. Instead, they've got fake terror, so-called terror attacks happening that they're staging themselves. Get something. I want to show you something. Wait there, wait there. Okay, I want to show you before we get to, we haven't got a lot of time, so I'm going to speed through this. All right. You need to understand how this is going to impact you. After we reported the terror attack there was another terror attack in Paris. Okay. We waited for the police. Nobody came. So we reported it again on the 18th of April. 2 days after that, there was a terror attack, another terror attack. All right. Every single time I've reported them, there's been a terror attack after. Every single time. Without fail, I can show you the pattern and you'll be bamboozled. Okay. Now, this is the recent one because I started communicating with you. We've been blasting these people all over the internet. Blasting, they're removing the views to make it look like nobody's interested. But we've been blasting their names all over the internet because we're going to take them down. But we need every single person who is interested in humanity, who wants to protect the children, who's interested in Pizzagate, who's interested in Pedogate, who's interested in the false flags. We need every single one of you to use your platforms to sound the alarm. 7 Gate, to shut down the 7 Gate crime ring. Specifically, shut down the 7 Gate crime ring. Okay? This is recent. Lockdown Britain. This is what they're doing the false flags for, to lock down Britain. Okay. These are not, it's terror. These are all front page newspapers, current. Okay. They're planning to storm British tubes because they know the public is waking up and knows that it's them. All right. They're trying to protect themselves. Look, they have a whole fleet to protect themselves because they know that the mass populace is awakening. So we need, if you're a targeted individual, this affects you because these are the people that are running these operations. We need you to home in on shutting down the 7 Gate crime ring. That means shutting down GCHQ, shutting down G4S, shutting down the whole gambit. Okay? When we go after the head of the snake, we chop it off. This is what we're talking about. We need everybody. So we need to galvanize and we need to be a united, raw, almighty raw coming from every platform. Gate crime ring. Specifically. Talk about what you've seen from this video. Explain to people what's happening. There is a 7 Gate satanic crime ring who are the ones behind all the false flag stage terror. They are the 7th floor group. They are all the ones doing the 7 bombings. 7/7, Charlie Hebdo, done on the 7th of July. If you go on to Truth Seekers channel and you Google what the false flag in Paris on November 2015, backed it to Virgin Media IP addresses. The same people. It's the same criminal cartel. They have taken over the entire media. The entire media. This is why you see videos with Katy Perry wearing pizza and all these other people wearing pizza, mocking you. They don't think you're ever going to put the pieces together to recognize the people who are doing the false flag are the people behind Pizzagate, are the people behind Pizzagate, are the people within the media. Mark Thompson, who is in the Times newspaper, New York Times, he was at Channel 4. He moved from Channel 4 to BBC because he bit somebody's ear off. And he's moved to New York Times. Now, New York Times was one of the first papers that shut down Pizzagate. Why do you think that is? They are the ones running it. That is why they shut it down, because he knows exactly who is behind Pizzagate. It's a game. Your life is a game. If you listen to a Grace Jones song, it's called Corporate Cannibal. Listen to the lyrics of that song. She's spelling it out. Your life is my sport.
Wow. 7, let me jump.
Emergency call to action. Shut down the 7 Gate crime ring.
That's great. That's great. I'll tell you what, I think you woke a lot of people up today. We're at the end of our time now. I want to make sure I'm all stirred up because of your talk. I mean, you really did a great job of motivating and pulling everything together. I'm very inspired. Why don't you make sure that if this goes on my channel, I'm not sure it's going to go on mine or yours, let's get all of your information out there, your solutionary channel, and then your personal, where they can get all this information. Because if they're skeptical of anything that you're saying, I want them to go there. I don't want them to think that we're crazy talking like this. It's all documented. There's plenty of evidence, and here's where it is. 7, would you give us all that info?
Right. Okay. So what you can do. Okay. You can. There's a huge playlist of 7 Gate videos. Everything from the interview series that I did with the judge Alfred Weber, which is covering the 7 Gate and its links to the false flag terror operations. They're just movie shows. They're TV productions. They're not terror at all. There is no terror. They are the terror. Okay, so you can go on to Solutionaries, SOULUTIONARIES Media Network on YouTube. I'm saying this even though we're on YouTube on my channel, but I'm saying it in case this video circulates in other areas. So I have a website which has got the same videos and stuff. You can check that out as well if you want to. It's pretty much the same videos, but you can go on to www.solutionarieswork.net. You can watch, .com. It's .com, Solutionary, SOULUTIONARIES TVnetwork.com. You can go on to the Farrell Report, THEFARRELL report.net, and that is a report on the actual crime ring itself. And of course, you can email me on contact@Solutionaries TV Network. Basically, I'm putting it out there. It's up to you guys, everybody who's watching this. Make a thunderous noise. If you want to end this, and I know you want to end this, you need to galvanize yourself to use your platforms to scream about 7 Gate, that you want this crime ring shut down. They've already been found guilty in court. They've changed their identities. They're doing all kinds of crimes against humanity to prevent getting caught, to scare people, terrorize people. What we need you to do now is just sound the alarm, bang your pots. There is a protest happening on June the 10th. I believe it's in various places in America, Washington, etc. We need those people who are organizers in these protests to highlight Seven Gate as well. I don't know who's running these protests, but that's what we need. So hopefully you've heard. I know the sound has been awful, but you know, this is what they do. You can contact me, as I said, on contact@solutionariestvnetwork.com, or on YouTube. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you can leave me a comment to this video, and you know, I'll respond to your comment and we can sort of do it from there. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much. We're wrapping up now.
Okay.
If you can press the end broadcast tab, that's right down at the
Okay.
bottom.
So, all
It'll
right.
say
So
end.
thank you to everybody. Stay safe, and you know, speak to you on the next one.